If you've ever had the need to record calls on your iPhone, it's not the easiest thing to do. There's no native way to do it. But today I'm going to show you an app that makes it really easy to set up. Let's talk about it. Hi everyone and welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to review an app called Rev Call Recorder. This app is great if you need to record a phone call, but there are some things to be aware of if you're going to use an app like this. But before we get started, be sure to like this video if you found it useful, click on subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss when I post new how-tos and reviews. Alright, so here's my legal disclaimer before we dive into this app. I am not an attorney and I am not providing any type of legal advice here. If you are going to record a phone call, it's important to understand the laws in every state that pertain to call recording. For example, California is a two-party consent state. That means both parties need to know that the call is being recorded from the beginning, and that is usually in some form of this.
This call is being recorded.
Some states are one-party consent states. If you're in a one-party consent state and call someone in a two-party consent state, you have to follow the two-party consent rules. And you can also use call recording tones like this that play every so often during a call to let people know you're recording. All of this means that if you're going to record calls for any type of legal purpose, just make sure you are following the law to make it legal. Now, there could be plenty of reasons to record a call without it being a legal issue. And I would still tell people you are recording the call, but maybe you're recording a phone interview or you're just recording a conversation because you don't want to forget information that's being discussed. In my line of work, I was actually recording calls for demonstrations, and the calls were with voice bots, so I didn't need consent. Now that all the disclaimers are out of the way, let's take a look at this app. All right, let's jump into Rev Call Recorder. I'm going to open up the app. And here you'll see a list of all the calls that you have recorded, and you can jump to any one of the calls and then get player controls. You can scrub through to get the to go to the exact spot. You can jump forward 15 seconds or back 15, and then you can increase the playback by toggling the playback speed. If you tap on the three dots, you have the ability to rename the clip. You can trim it. So you can trim the clip down and then save it, and then cancel out of there or delete it. If you hit transcribe, this is where the in-app comes in. So you can do a transcription, and they have different costs for doing transcriptions and different levels of how they can transcribe the call for you. Before we go into the share, let me jump over to settings. And in settings, you can create an account. You can log in here. If you go to the phone recording laws, that's just going to take you to a Wikipedia page where it'll explain the different recording laws. The two-party legal disclosure is an on-off toggle, and that's the announcement that the call is being recorded. When it's turned on, that means it's going to say this call is being recorded, like you heard earlier, and it'll play that right at the beginning of the video. So that is where that setting is at. If I go back, and then let's go to make a call. So if I was actually going to make a call, I would hit the dial button there, and let me bring up a phone number. So I'm going to put in my number that I'm going to call. And now you can also use contacts here too, but if you want to find a phone number within your contacts, and then if you hit start call, it actually dials this 415 number. So what I believe it's doing is like a conference call. So it's dialing your number, or it's dialing this 415 number, and then in turn it's dialing the number that it's going to call. Now the person on the receiving end is going to show your phone number as the number that they're receiving for the phone call. So they're not going to see the 415 number. So if I hit call, it goes to your phone app and it calls this 415 number, but on the other end, they will see your phone number. So you don't have to worry about this, them not seeing your number. So I'm just going to hang up there. And so a couple things about this app. There's no real call history here. So if I was like, oh, I want to dial that number again, if I go to this call, it doesn't show me that number. Now you can rename this record, so I could rename this with the phone number so I have a view of that. The other thing to keep in mind is in your phone app on your iPhone, let's go over there. So if I go to the phone app, you're only going to see the 415 number that's been dialed. You're not going to see the actual number that you called. So it's actually calling the 415 number for Rev Call Recorder and not your actual contact number. So keep that in mind with the app itself. Now if I go back into the app and now I want to share this recording, or maybe I just want to keep a copy of this recording, I want to get it off of the app and I want to put it, I want to save the recording. So if I go to share, I can share the recording, and now it's going to bring up the recording and the file name, and then I have my share options here at the bottom. But realistically, what you're probably going to want to do is use AirDrop, and if I hit AirDrop there for my MacBook, it's going to send the file over to my Mac, and that's how I'll get the recording. You could also go down and you could save it to files. So if I wanted to save it to my iCloud, I could do that here as well. So that is the app in general. It works really well. I like using it a lot for when I kind of do my demos and things like that. It works great. Overall, this is a really easy to use app. For a free app, it works great if you're just looking to record your calls and keep the audio file. Of course, there are some in-app purchases for transcription available, but if you're looking for a free call recording app, I definitely recommend this one. As always, I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below. What are your opinions about call recording? Have you ever used an app like this before? Drop a note below. Thanks again for watching, everyone, and we'll talk soon.